Welcome to One Bad Decision, also known as Crime Leads. One bad decision can lead you to prison. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments below, and hit the notification button. You can also follow me at Crime Leads to Jail on Instagram and Crime Leads on YouTube. Let's get into our first case. William Lewis Reece, also known as the Boogeyman. In the late 1990s, throughout the towns of Oklahoma and Texas, there was a rash of brutal killings going on among four young girls, I should say, and one that got away. Let's talk about the serial murder by the name of William. Our first victim was only 12 years old. Her name was Laura Smither. Laura was a beautiful child. She woke up on April 3rd, 1997, and at 7:30 a.m., she asked for her mother's permission to go out jogging. What people didn't know, Laura was also a ballerina, a very active child, and a good child. Her mother and father said yes, she can, because they was going to have pancakes that morning as her father had requested. After 30 minutes, they noticed that Laura didn't return home. So the father left the home to go looking for their child, and there was no evidence of Laura. Where could Laura be? And it makes me sad when I talk about missing children, so allow me a moment. Little Laura was missing, and no one could find her. In that small town where they didn't even have to lock doors. It was a very homey town. Everybody knew each other, except for when it came to the serial killer. Let me tell you guys something right now. There was volunteers searching for the minor child. They even called in the government to help them and assist to locate her. Sad to say, 17 days later, on April 20th, 1997, Laura's body was found in a retention pond. Her body was partially submerged in the water. Only thing she had on was her rings that identify her and her socks. To the devastation of her family, they had to be told on that day at 12:30 p.m. that their child body was found lifeless. This man stole her laughter and her family's heart. She was decomposed badly. They could not find the cause of death. On April 10th, 1997, Reese was questioned. Yes, he was questioned by the local police. He was a construction worker and he controlled the interview. He became angry out of nowhere so he can control the narrative. Let me tell you guys something. When you see somebody getting angry out of nowhere and there's just a discussion with you, they're hiding something. You animal. He dumped her like trash, an innocent child. There was evidence linking him to Laura, but they didn't have enough without a confession. In 1997, he was on video flirting with young girls at the Busy Bee Cafe. The underage girl was groped by him in a public setting, and he even demonstrated choking her. Let me tell you something. How in the hell everybody let this go down and no one didn't say anything at the Busy Bee Cafe at that time? But there was one person who knew something wasn't right with this man, and it was his ex-wife. Yes, his ex-wife knew he was no good. And just to think, this man lied to police and told police he never seen the child. Well, let me tell you, wait till I tell you guys what he did to that poor child. Just to think, your child was found in a pond with nothing but their socks on at 12 years old. This man had did horrible things to her, and because he left her in the pond, there was no proof of anything for them to pull on, no DNA samples, except for the hair samples that were found on her body, which was her socks, and it was horse's hair, the same horse hair that was found on a blanket in the man's apartment. On July 26, 1997, in Bethany, Oklahoma, Tiffany Johnston, in her vehicle, she decided to go wash her vehicle because guess what? That is her right to go do so. She went to go wash her vehicle at the local car wash and it was found by authorities. No blood, no sign of struggle. Her car was just left there. Just left there. At 8:30 p.m. the next day, her body was found. On July 27th, 1997, they had to go and speak to her mother, Kathy Dobry, and ask her, "Do you know a young lady by the name of Tiffany Johnston?" And she said, "Yes, that's my daughter." This man has went so far as to put a rope around her neck. She was undressed, no leads, and it became a closed case. But we had one thing, ladies and gentlemen, we had DNA. This man had left DNA behind. Yes, he had all her. This animal right here, William Reece. And the sad thing about it, it was later discovered that Reece knew her mother because her mother hired his mother to do her laundry. So this man stalked her. He knew and he waited till she was alone and he attacked her. He knew the victim, and just like the poor little 12-year-old child, he treated her like trash. He threw her to the side, but he did R with her. And I believe he did the R to the little girl too. We just didn't have any proof. This man was a horrible man, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? Let's go on to our next victim. On August 17th, 1997, 17-year-old Jessica had went to rehearsal with her theater group. And after the theater group rehearsal, Jessica had went to go have dinner with the members of the theater group. Lord, I hate to report to all of you, her vehicle was found. The FBI did not even want him to be questioned because they believed they had somebody else. But you know what? Say it isn't so. Guess what? He was her murderer. We're going to talk about more about it in his confession shortly. My prayers to this young girl's family because it's very hard to even go back and talk about this. Let's talk about our next victim by the name of Kelly Cox. Kelly Cox was a college student studying criminal law. Kelly Cox and her class had went to the Denton Police Department and they got a tour of it and they was talking about the criminal justice system. After the tour was over, Kelly had noticed her keys was missing, so she asked the front desk at the police precinct, can she use their phone? They initially said yes, but then when they realized it was a long distance call, they told her no, she couldn't use it. Gathered she was just there for a tour, college student. But I'm going to digress from that. So they let her go. So she ended up going across the street to a gas station and a convenience store. Kelly had made a phone call to her boyfriend, long distance, and they was making arrangements for him to come and meet her or someone to meet her. Sadly to report, Kelly was not there. When they made it there, she was gone from the gas station. The gas station right across the street from the precinct. The precinct that should have helped her, that should have allowed her to make that one simple phone call. She was gone. There was no one in the area, no witnesses. She just disappeared. So sad. Although his ex-wife, Rhoda Aranda doesn't want to be known as a victim, but you know what, ladies and gentlemen, she really was. Did you guys know that she had married him when they was 18 and 19 years old? They got married, Rhonda actually had got married in 1984. They was 18, 19 years old, and she was pregnant at the time when they got married and they had a son. And she would love to say that she wasn't a victim, but she really was because you think about it, she went through moments of him choking her. She went through mental abuse and could have been physical, but she didn't go any further. And then you think about it, she said he was one of the best liars you will ever meet. This man will lie so well until you think his lie is the truth. And gosh darn it, it will have you second guessing what you saw with your own eyes. This is how he got away with it for so long. But let me tell you, the boogeyman, he wasn't so lucky. His life had changed in 2016 when he was lucky enough to meet Jim Holland, a Texas Ranger. Jim Holland was brought on to the case because you know what? The family was owed that. And I'm so glad that the police department in Texas, they didn't have egos or anything. They was like, look, we got to get somebody who can get this done and who will go above and beyond because the families they do deserve closure. This man, Jim Holland, had gone into the prison and sat there and talked for 5 hours straight with William Reece. Sometimes you got to do that. He had to make him feel like he was in control for a little bit. He had to make him feel like that he was the man. And you know what? If it wasn't for the case that happened in 1997 when he got arrested, we probably wouldn't have anything to go on. I do want to let you guys know in the 80s, he was in trouble in the 80s for two assaults. Yes, he was in there from 1986 to 1996 and he was released in October of 1996. In October of 1997, he was arrested again and found guilty for kidnapping a woman who we will discuss later. And I'm so glad that they got a chance to get him. So after 5 hours of speaking to Jim Holland, my man got exhausted. William Reese was like, look, he was ready to go. But Jim Holland said, you know what? I got to get these other two girls' missing bodies, the two girls you see here on the screen. He had to bring them home to their family because their family need to have peace. And when you see images like this, I want you to get mad all over again because this is him with a minor child, coming on her and, just disgusting. And I want you guys to also know one thing too. These young ladies' families needed closure to find out where their child was at and bring them home. Look at him. He was strangling her in a restaurant right there. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. So 5 days later, Jim came back and had a talk with him. And he was ready to confess everything. Yes, you heard me right. He was ready to confess, but he will only do it if he wasn't given the death penalty. And Jim was like, okay, let me I got to speak to Jim. Worked it out. Here's the thing. It was two DAs. Kicker, right? The two DAs, one DA said, yes, we will give him life without, parole. And the other one was like, nah, we want the death penalty. And that was Oklahoma. I don't blame them. You went there and you did. You were so brutal. And you're a liar. You get what you deserve. So, okay, fine. He went and worked things out. Jim got William to talk. And William went and shut the hell up. And I'm glad because we got closure, everybody. Come with me, if you will. So, William decided to tell what he did with each body. So William started talking about our little first victim, 12-year-old Laura. He said he was on his way to work to go meet with Trina, but her vehicle wasn't there. So he said he hit something and it broke his mirror and he saw her body in the ditch. So he picked her up, put her on the back seat of his truck, put her in the side of his truck, covered her up with his blanket, and went past his boss and kept going. And then he dropped her body in a pond. Okay, my guy, what happened to her clothes? Because her clothes are missing. Only thing she had on was socks. And there was fibers from the blanket that you had inside of your truck on her sock. So what happened to her undergarments? She was out there in the water for 10 days. So of course there was no proof to prove anything that he did that trauma to her, but we are not stupid. We know he did something to her because she had no clothes on. Second victim, Jessica, he said that she hit his door with her car. She hit his door with her car door, and he called her stupid B. So he said she followed him in the dark and argued with him and had him pull over the side of the road. Y'all believe that? Do you think that 17-year-old girl did that? Nah, that man followed her. He a liar. Let's go with it. He strangled her and took her to a horse farm, a horse stable barn. And he said he did not have S with her. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. What did I tell you who he was before? He did it. He had S with her. Then we got a confession out of him about Kelly Cox in Denton. He claims that he got out of the truck fast, bumped into her, and her coat had spilled over both of them. He pushed her down, slapped her, and choked her. He dug the hole with a bulldozer, threw her in the ground. Truth is, he was a construction worker, so of course he knew where he was at. He was watching them. The fourth victim, Tiffany Johnston, Oklahoma, admitting to her, Even her. Yes, he admitted to that. So disgusting, right? He said that they was fighting. He slapped her, overalls over her. He assaulted her. He said he pulled his pants back up after he choked her. He's a monster. Then he confessed of that. And thank God, because that's what we needed was DNA, which we already had. And he knew he already had the DNA. That's why he confessed to it with his lying face self. They discovered Jessica's body. Then Kelly's body was found. Thank you, God. They was able to go back home and the families were able to have both of them, and they can give them both a peaceful rest. He was a monster, ladies and gentlemen. He is a monster. He changed and ruined so many lives. And you know who life he really changed? He changed Ranger Jim the most. Ranger Jim said he was to the point that he was afraid to let his daughters go out by themselves. And they were not allowed to go out by themselves. This man here was the boogeyman. And this serial murder, I'm telling you, when they found him guilty in Oklahoma, that was the best thing of this whole documentary. Now I want you guys to know one thing. This is my first video and I thoroughly enjoy reporting this to you. Like I said, you guys find out anything you want me to review and I'll review it. This is your girl bringing you the latest things. Oh, before I hang up and leave you guys on a limb, there was another victim that got away. Sandra Sapog. She was kidnapped in Webster, but she escaped. And her testimony helped landed Reece in prison for 60 years. That's Sandra right there. And I want you guys to know one thing. Sandra, we praying for you. You have to relive the trauma. And we're praying for your strength. And you know what? We're going to say a special prayer for the other victims' families. For people like William, who's locked up behind bars for multiple murders and other heinous crimes, may you stay there and continue on paying for taking the lives of these innocent people. I would like to say thank you to all the law enforcement involved with cracking the case and helping solve all these crimes. I would also like to say, Jim, it was a pleasure in seeing you on the screen. Follow me on Instagram at Crime Leads to Jail. Help me get my viewership up. And don't forget to follow me on Crime Leads here on YouTube. Until next time, bye.